All right, let's talk a little bit about 2016, because you would like to be the next president of the United States. The big news over the last 5 or 6 days has been about this book by Peter Schweitzer, and he's going to actually be on our show in a day or two, where it details quite graphically the parallels between the Clinton Foundation getting cash and then things happening to the benefit of that country while Hillary Clinton is Secretary of State.
Well, I think it's very worrisome that the Russians now own a uranium company that does 20% of the mining of uranium in our country. I mean, there are a few companies and few industries where I think the government should have some kind of regulatory role, but definitely in a national security industry like uranium, the government has some control. So in order for the Russians to buy this group, it had to be approved by Hillary Clinton.
It did.
Now, she says, well, I didn't actually do anything, but it has to be a unanimous vote. Had she stood up and objected, the sale wouldn't have gone through. But now the Russians own 20% of our mining, and then it turns out that the people who own the mining company were giving over $100 million to the Clinton Foundation. I mean, there seems to be maybe the possibility, at least, of little impropriety
Senator,
here.
you understand, too, you were going to run for president for a while. You thought about it. You were looking in your background, responsibly going, okay, what could come up that could possibly trip me up and spoil my candidacy? Did Hillary Clinton not do that?
Well, here's the thing also. She had agreed and told President Obama she would release the donors. Now it turns out the reason they didn't release these donors is they were set up sort of a dummy or a shell corporation of the foundation that's Canadian. They said, oh, we only agreed to do the U.S. foundation, not the Canadian foundation. You think they might have done that because they were worried about these shareholders and this uranium company? I think maybe it was done on purpose. Will we ever know?
To the average American who says, well, this may... what can I do about this? This is just Hillary's way. Why should they be concerned about this pattern of money being transferred, perhaps for favors, in policy? Well, the presidency is the commander-in-chief. You have to trust your commander-in-chief that they wouldn't actually sell the country while they're the commander-in-chief. Secretary of State is an incredibly important position. She got to be on the approval of whether or not a uranium company was sold to Russia, and she allowed it to happen while receiving money from the shareholders.
Was it bribery?
Well, I think it has the appearance of impropriety, I think is the best way to put it. And the thing is, there ought to be rules against this. In fact, the Constitution says that when you're in my office, you cannot take gifts from foreign countries.
Should there be an investigation? Should the Department of Justice look into it?
Absolutely. And I've talked to people within the Senate about whether or not there will be an investigation. I favor an investigation of this because we need to know that if you're going to elect someone to be president of the United States, whether they've been accepting gifts that might influence their opinion.
Senator, and finally, for people who say, well, Republicans just focus on what they're going to do and not worry about what Hillary has done. What's your answer?
Well, I think it goes to character. It goes to wisdom. You want someone, that's why I say Benghazi is still an issue. The decisions she made weren't just the day of Benghazi. It was for 9 months she denied more security requests. She kept sending the security home and then saying, oh, I didn't make any of these decisions. But that goes to wisdom, and I think your commander-in-chief has to have wisdom and to be able to say, I will defend American interests.